you. All right, so as we get ready to kick it off, um, I do love that conversation of capacity. And the reason I said the words chewing the walls, which I ought not to say very often, because I said it before. I said that when you don't, when you have a huge capacity and you're not fulfilling it, it's kind of like a dog that's meant to be a sheepdog or herding dog, and they're put in a little container and then they just have all this energy and they chew the walls. And when I was using that analogy, no joke, my dog chewed a hole in the wall. And I was like, all right, we're getting a bigger house. And I moved and I stopped using the analogy. And whenever you're a person like Johnny, like many of you, that we are very conscious of our words and you really believe that, the more potent and powerful your words actually become. So they're already potent and powerful for everyone. That's why Jesus said it's what you think, not just what you do. It's why Napoleon Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich. It's why we have so many things. But the more you believe that, the more potent and powerful your thoughts and words are, because your faith creates this kind of and you've done the work to kind of clear the mud. And so it's like you're packing a laser. That's what I say. Good thing is we can clean it up with very potent, powerful words and actions. So Eddie, good to see you. All right, my name's Adora Crystal Evans. I'm the founder and CEO of the Diva Network, which is hosted by this event that you're on right now. The Diva Network, Diva stands for, put it in the chat. What does it stand for? Who knows? I'm going to rest and hydrate while you guys work it out. Let's see. What does it stand for? Somebody, or we're just going to driven, inspiring. What else? Who's got the visionary? Oh man, JKN is feeding you all. All right. Driven, inspiring, visionary, authentic leaders. When you join the Divas, you're joining a sisterhood, but a tenth of our members right now are men. And so we say the Divas and the men who support us, Stevie B and Ed Cross and Mad Stuntman got really adamant that Diva should also have Devo, and the O is original. They made that up. So whatever it is, the Diva Network is a collaboration with the Dining Empire. So the Dining Empire is a collection of TV shows, food, lifestyle, entertainment. It's been on the Travel Channel and we TV. Now we're going on Google, Apple, Prime, because when we got together, women, driven, inspiring, visionary, authentic sisters, what we saw is not only the shows went spun off into multiple shows, but we saw our businesses, our lives catapulting, because women move differently. And I love, love, love our men. I have very amazing male mentors. Don Green, you met. Dennis Waitley, you met. Jimmy Azell. You're about to meet another friend slash mentor, David. But women move differently. And there's a reason that we call the earth Mother Earth, because when you plant a seed into the feminine earth, she gives you a new tree with many, many other seeds and lifetime. We multiply things, right? When we're in our highest realm. So when we get people like you together, it's freaking multiplier. So thank you and welcome to our meeting. David Wildasin is a really good friend. He's become a really good friend. I'll tell you how we reconnected. It's beautiful and apropos today, David. We won't say a lot about that, but people will understand even more later. So I had won a Russell Brunson top affiliate for Secrets of Success kind of thing. And the prize was, we went to Nightingale Conant. Anyone familiar with Nightingale Conant? They put out a lot of the original books, but so we won this mastermind where we got together. We spent with Russell Brunson, Vic Conant, and so David and I see each other, And we're like, wait, I know you. Where do I know you from? Where do I? And then we both figured out the Napoleon Hill Foundation. We met and then we could see the table. We're talking about the sandwiches we ate. Maybe that was me, David. But anyway, speed it up. We sit down. Johnny Lloyd, also regular speaker at the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Emily's coming in. So, David, you may see her. I don't know if you'll be with us in July. David, nod yes or no. Okay, yes, Johnny will, David will. Okay. So anyway, we sit down, we start talking about Dennis Waitley. How many of you remember when Dennis Waitley came on here, my mentor, the new psychology of winning? Okay. So we start talking about him. Dave takes out his notepad. Okay, speed it up a month or two later, we fly into Dennis Waitley's house. And David was able to help Dennis get many of his own rights to his old books, like The Psychology of Winning, back and to repackage, republish. I got written into that deal as a percentage for bringing it all together. And so I'm telling you this to tee up who David is, but one, to remind you it's one connection, right? That was one event. It was one event I got into. I reconnected with David. And so now he's here with you. So David has a history in publishing. He's a person that is one of the most important people in any author room where you're looking at authors, but many people would know him because Les Brown, this guy, but he's the one that's making those deals. So he's at a place in his life where he gets to choose who he works with. So as far as I know, the only people he's doing publishing deals for right now are the Napoleon Hill Foundation, which, come on, that's a lot of freaking books, a lot of countries, a lot of deals, a pretty big deal. And he does all the publishing for Nightingale, Conant, and now Dennis Waitley as well, which was a historical, blessed opportunity we both felt honored to participate in. So I asked David, we always promise to give you our top who, because I don't believe it's why, what, the techniques, even the best techniques he's going to tell you now. Guess what? Why you will know them is because of who David knows them, and someone that invited you here, and now you're getting access. So the who is always more important than the what, why, da 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 da. But if you care about the self-development space, about publishing, about what it is to pioneer through your own industry, even if you don't care about writing a book, I thought it would be awesome to have David here to give us a little of the what. Are you excited? All right, go crazy. We're so excited. Welcome, David Wildasin. Welcome,
Thank
David.
you. Thank you, Adora, for that kind introduction. And hey, Johnny, how you doing? This ties right into what we've been talking about. Um, and to Bless's comment early, I'm not sure that I belong with this group either, and I will explain why. The two of you that have met me in person, I am an extreme extrovert. I want to get to know everybody. I want to be the life of the party. I don't like videos. I don't like being on Zoom on video. And so
Wait,
to
so let's
honor
give it up for David's
to
breakthrough that he's
to
going out of his
honor
comfort
yes,
zone.
to honor Adora's request, I said, yeah, I should be doing that. I'll do that. And Johnny, don't tell Don or Lefford or anybody because Lefford's always inviting me, and I'm always I don't do the video thing. Um, so I've had the great pleasure over a decade to have hundreds of conversations with authors at different stages in their careers, some just starting, some well established, like Adora had mentioned in Dennis and some of the Hill books and the Nightingale Conant books. And what I'd like to share today, to some of you, it's going to be elementary, but it's your time. I am an interactive person. Please be interactive. Please take notes. If you get one seed out of this, one bit of inspiration, that's then I've done what I'm supposed to do here today. I'm going to make sure there's plenty of time for Q&A. So again, for those that have already published, the beginning of this will probably be quite elementary, but it's your time. I want to make this about you, so please note your questions so we can come back to them. And now I'm going to attempt to screen share because I love this. Always works on Zoom, right?
Those of you on your phone, you're gonna be like, what the heck?
Okay. Did that come through on a screen share?
Looks gorgeous.
Okay, perfect. Well, we got something. It's a good start on Zoom for Dave. Um, okay, so I think the biggest thing that most authors miss, and this is not just first time authors. A lot of authors that have published one, two, three, five, 10 books, they never got clear on what their primary objective or objectives were. They want to do everything, or they jump right into the writing piece, thinking this is a great idea, without clearly identifying this. And if you're talking with a publisher, or if you're not, you're going to need to know this. And so, a lot of individuals in business, like a lot of you are, or nonprofits, they're looking for, using that book as lead gen, using that book as a potentially for backroom sales at speaking events, just simply seeding the book as giveaways, and all those are great answers. The profitably distribute books, of course, is what publishers is always looking for. Is that tucked away in a plan somewhere? So the importance of just getting clear on that, it can't be understated. And it starts with, just like Napoleon Hill says, it really starts with what's your purpose. And what feeds the question I always have for authors is, how's this book going to feed the all? And what I mean by that is, okay, you have a book idea, you have a book concept. You're going to invest a tremendous amount of time to do that right and to market that right. Does that book tie back in to your purpose, something that you're passionate about? And does that book tie back into something that's profitable for you? Books aren't always profitable for authors. However, they can be used profitably, whether it be lead gen or part of a bigger plan or part of an ancillary program. Um, so identifying what that purpose is for you, and then what the purpose is for the book. And of course, they don't have to be the same, but they should somehow connect. Um, and I'm looking at three different places here. Glad, so you'll have to excuse me.
You're doing great. And guys, in the chat, if you already have a book, put an H. And if you want to write a book, put a W. And if it's both, HW in the chat.
Okay. So this one gets a little bit more into content creation, or at least the starting steps. And this is where Johnny will plug in, because we just did this together with another individual. Um, so you're all knowledgeable about something. We all have unique gifts, talents. You've heard it before. You need to own it. And that's a great starting point if you're looking to put together a book, a speech, a podcast, a presentation, anything. Um, so from there, you have to figure out what you teach and what problem you solve. And that's where it becomes about the reader, and you have to get in the mindset of the reader and out of the mindset of, I'm going to be a successful author, or I'm writing this book for myself. That's fun, and you can certainly write publications and books for yourself. And if that makes you happy, write them. But if you're looking to distribute on scale or profitably distribute a book, I'd highly recommend going through these checklists before starting writing, and definitely before starting titling. That's a mistake that I've made with authors, and I've seen it made too many times. Got a great idea for a title, and now I'm going to formulate the book. I would back into the title from a lot of the checklist and questionnaires that we're going to look through today. Um, so, how do you let the audience know they have a problem? Most all of us know when we have a problem, right? We know what we should be doing, and we know we're not doing it. So, direct reminders of that in titling, subtitling, descriptions are always helpful there. How are you going to let them know? How does this differentiate from other things out there? And I'll hit that multiple times in different ways throughout this. Barnes and Noble now requires all publishers, all salespeople, booksellers of any type that are in their platform, to identify what makes the book different. Okay, number one, like, what is different from anything in the store? All right. And how the message differentiates, whether it be in story, whether it be the platform. But there's multiple check boxes now. So you have to you can't be a copycat in this business. Um, I say it, and I think it's true. Everything in personal development's probably been done, but You haven't. Your story hasn't. So your uniqueness is what comes into play here. And then, of course, actionable steps, which for a personal development book, I think are vitally important because if you just tell a story, even though you may have a historical story of yourself or someone else, could be entertaining. If you don't have that follow up in bite-sized pieces, where where the reader can clearly say, okay, here's a summary, here's the follow up, here are the things I can do, I get it, and I'm going to apply them. Then at that point in time, where do they go next? What are they going to do next? And having a next step in your mind, even past that, of where do you want to drive them? Are you going to drive them to a website? Are you going to drive them to another program or another book in a series? Uh, so identifying audience and who your audience is important because I can tell you your book is not for everyone. Your speech won't be for everyone. This message won't be for everyone. So knowing who the audience is to the best of your ability, and then if you can niche down and find an underserved audience, which there are plenty of out there, even in a bigger genre like sales, there's still an underserved audience. So it might be females starting out in sales. It might be female sales managers. So there's always an opportunity there. Then I love this one, where are they hanging out? Much like Adora said, where people are hanging out, the art of live and in person, a handshake, time with them. In my opinion, that's a lost art. It's not done enough, and that's where the connections come in. Whether it be in marketing a book, building a platform, building a crew, I think all of this is supplemental to that. Now, however, I'm older and I've been proved very wrong by a younger generation. So don't all of this is just my humble advice of what I've experienced, but I still think where I would personalize where they're hanging out would be the old school mailing list, but not a mailing list. Use your social media to connect, get addresses, and write handwritten notes. Okay, here's an author I admire. I'm going to handwrite them a note. I've just read your book instead of an online review, or do both. Handwritten thank you notes. Anything you can do to connect in person, it makes a world of difference. And when you're looking to build your platform, whether it be a platform of I'm going to find an agent, I'm going to find a publisher, they're used to the quick and easy outreach. You know, someone sends me an email, drops me a text. So when you can go above and beyond there, it's gonna make a big impact.
David, just a little, I know you're going to do some Q&A later, but so when you're saying where are they hanging out, usually when someone asks that question, in the atmospheres I've heard it lately is like what Facebook groups, what Instagram groups, what
Right.
you're saying that may be a start, but you're saying no, take it to in person, even if it's send a letter to their office or send a package to do the online part. But and then when you can get in person, which we realize that too, we have this virtually, but it's part of why we launched Diva Locals and we have chapters launching. People really, we want to be together in person. So sometimes it's an actual go to the event and find them. And, but even in the simple things, you're saying send them a letter because that's in person, it's in their hand.
Yeah, agreed. Yep. But
Perfect.
you said it perfectly right. It starts and ends on social media. It starts and ends in all the quick modern forms of communication. But as far as if you have the ability to do it, and again, maybe your people aren't your focus, your audience isn't hanging out at live events. That could be. And in that case, you don't have that option, but you do have the option to make a difference, right? In some way, whether you're sending them a gift, a book, a card, some way to stay in communication in a physical, tangible manner. And then, of course, Adora, you hit this too. Either what connections or resources do you currently have? Well, that's what we both found when we had reconnected in Chicago. Okay, you have resources. I have resources. How do we connect these two? Um, this part is fun, and I like a little bit of controversy in books because it does make them different. And so, again, knowing your audience is important here. because you don't want to go
Wait,
off the
can
deep
I
end.
pause that just for a moment? Because
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
just said triggered something else. When you said we met in Chicago, you had
Mhm.
resources, I had resources. What I want you all to hear is, do you know our resources were our people? They were our connections. I had Dennis Waitley. David had connection into Simon Schuster and Nightingale Conant, the people. So it wasn't even we're saying, oh, you have money, you have a platform. Sometimes that's the exchange, but the currency of connection is something we talk about a lot here, and the value of connection. So you triggered that because ours was a rare one where you had some who's and I had a who, and then that created movement. And there were additional resources that went with that, but it started with the people. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, perfect. So this is pretty self-explanatory. You know, an industry group of philosophy you're looking to disrupt. So you have a new form of mental health care, a new form of fitness, and it's backed up by data. It's backed up by your stories and your success and history. Use it. You know, don't be afraid to be a disruptor. Really, anything in life, we all love them, right, Johnny? I can't see on my screen, but I know you're there. um, so this is a way to try and formulate a very short picture description. And the more refined you can make this, the better off you're going to be, because this is where you're probably going to extract titling, description, uh, keyword, various keywords. But you're also going to have a pitch that you can use for direct to consumer and for discussions if you choose to have them with agents or publishers. So again, pretty self-explanatory. I just wanted to provide
Guys,
this for.
take a screenshot of that if you want that. You know, you can also, once you take, or a picture with your phone, it's once you do a picture with your phone, you can copy that text and onto a Word doc pretty easy. Perfect.
And if you want any of these, I'm happy to go back through then and we can screenshot more. I can bundle them up, send them to you, Dora. All right, so here's where most authors and sometimes just writers and sometimes planners and people putting together Zoom presentations fall off the wagon. Um, you know, so if you've gone through this process and you feel strongly about your purpose for your mission, and then the book that's going to come along with that, if it is a book or a series, that's your time, that's your baby. And so if you're finding it really difficult to schedule that time to move that forward, you might want to reset and go back to the beginning and start looking at, okay, why am I finding this difficult time? Because you have to understand that there's help out there. There's assistance out there. If you just say, "Oh, I'm terrible at editing," well, you know, it's not an excuse anymore, because there's 5 zillion AI editing programs that are phenomenal and professionally used. Um, so set your deadlines and make the deadlines you can live with. You know, don't say I'm going to write this book tomorrow. Figure out what you're comfortable with. You know, I'm a morning person. My inspirational time comes in the morning, and when I found that I carve that out for me, to do the things I need to be done for me, whether that supports the business or family or something else, I get it done very creatively. If I wait later in the day, I'm caught up in meetings, calls, scheduled follow up. So use that time, and I'm sure, Dora, you probably everyone in the group agrees that, like, you have to figure that out, and
Yeah,
it
well, David, we just had Don Green on last week. Well, no, we
uh,
had him on book club. We had him on book club Saturday. And one thing that dropped out of his mouth, just like it does, you know, David, nuggets, nuggets,
yeah,
nuggets,
oh yeah.
nuggets. Like, but one was, you know, that he writes, he's working on a book. And if you ever talk to Don Green over the years, he's always working on a book. And he has a habit of, he doesn't watch TV every morning or every evening. He writes so many, and he pumps out book after book after book. And it just clicked for me in a different way when I heard it. Like, oh yeah, it's character. Like you go to the gym every day. He just writes every day. And that guy has written so many books. So I'm really glad you brought that up, David.
And that works for him. And again, maybe it's not writing books, but and maybe it's once a month, or you love intense, take a weekend and do it. It's what works for you. There's no solid rule on that. Just like there's no rule on how long a book has to be. One of the biggest asked questions, which I'm kind of jumping ahead there, is how long does this have to be for? Well, some of the best books I've ever written have only been a few thousand words. I feel whatever you need to do to get what's in it for the reader as quickly as you can get there, and then choose entertaining, inspiration, action steps. If you can do that in 5,000 words, you got yourself a book, and it could be a darn good one if you started with 500,000 and whittled it down to the best of the best. But anyways, um, so the perfectionist trap, which is anything in life, but I have seen probably 70% of authors that I've worked with. This is where they get hung up. It's just never good enough. And I've been working on this book for 4 years. I've been working on this book for 10 years. We get maybe I've been working for a year and we get to the point in time like, okay, it's time. We got to move this on to editorial. No, it's just not good enough. I need to change all these things. Um, you cannot get stuck there. It has to be damn good, but it's never going to be perfect to everyone. So again, it has to be good, has to be solid, but there's always going to be something that could be made better, and that's when you do a follow-up book or a new edition type product down the road. Of course, modern tools, you all know about AI. AI has been used for years, right? It's on here. It's editing softwares. It's just gotten better and faster. I would highly recommend don't write a full book using AI. If you do, disclose it. The legal ramifications are constantly changing there. I'm not an attorney, so I won't give advice there. But for the sake of your integrity and your audience integrity, even if you partially generate that using AI or AI assisted, I'd note that at the beginning of the book, copyright page, bold it, because everybody is doing it or going to be doing it to some degree. So I think, adopt early, find out what you like. There's some phenomenal programs for fiction and nonfiction out there. They help you organize thoughts, put together outlines, and that might be all you need is to get it organized, and then you're the writing piece. Maybe you organize it all, put your stories in it, and it helps you with the action steps or the summary points. But there's some great stuff out there. I won't give any advice on anything because a lot of them are paid programs, many are free. Not selling anything, but just type in top AI programs for writers if you're interested, and then put in fiction or nonfiction because that'll help you as well. Um, Support lined up ahead of time. Again, a lot of people, a lot of authors miss this. They go, I'm going to fast track this. I think I got a good idea, good outline, good concept. Reach out to your community. Find out if they know editors so that you know what the cost will be if you need that, which you likely will. Pagination. Find out, I ask all the questions of the steps and go, okay, well, I don't understand what book typesetting is now called pagination. I try to program, maybe kind of understand it. Find out what the costs are. Cover designs, are you going to do that yourself? Have someone do it using an AI program. If you have all that lined up ahead of time, you don't need to pull the trigger on it. You can still, attempt to do it as far as you can yourself. It'll save you cost. Uh, but ultimately having that lined up because it's going to happen somewhere along the line. And instead of you then going out and trying to ask for referrals or search for references, you'll be ahead of the game. And don't be afraid to test things. That's the beauty of a lot of the print on demand platforms now. You can, if you put it up there yourself, you have full control. So you can test out a short article, short book, theory, anything you want. You can test it. You can drive it. You can test in blogs or anywhere else the same. But test it, and if it takes off, you can expand on it. You can improve it. But the cool thing with POD platforms is anytime you can hit kill button and you can just shut it down and move to the next thing. So if you put something up, you're getting terrible reviews. You're like, okay, shouldn't have done that one. Get rid of it. start from scratch again. Um, Again, most importantly is, and I'll hit on this again later. You, the author, are what is going to sell, not a copycat theory, not what's been done 100 times before. It's you. So be you, be authentic, just like everything in life. Um, that's what's going to work.
Okay,
So,
one
oh,
moment, David. I apologize. We
no
have
problem.
we are going to take a quick commercial break, just a very
Okay.
quick commercial
Hey,
break,
perfect.
and then we'll continue with David. You'll be able to do some Q&A as well as a little bit of networking. So, this is a broadcast that we offer to our Diva locals and we offer to the public as a taster of what is available inside of our network. So, we're going to have Ali come up and just take about 5 minutes to share what is the Diva Network membership. Is that all right with you guys? And all of my home team better say yes, so we have someone giving us permission. Yes, there we go. All right. So I'm before Ali or as Ali's coming up, I'm going to tell you my daughter's in summer school, so I'm going to switch phones. I've got to go pick her up. I'm going to go ahead and give you the bonuses. We have a few bonuses for those of you who choose to sign up today sometime within the 24 hours. We announced them at the event we spoke at, and we decided to give them here. So anyone who becomes a founding member of the Diva Network today, where you're going to get all the things that Ali will explain to you in a few moments, I'm going to explain the bonuses. You are going to get to be not only, you already get to be on our podcast because that's part of being a founding member, but we have a broadcast coming up with Top Talent Agency and Diva Network. The Inventors and Innovators broadcast. Sharon Lecter will be speaking on it. We will have Dr. DeMartini on it. We'll have a bunch of business people that are more recognized in Forbes. We have NASDAQ TV with us. The last time David Fagan and I did this event together, we had just under 4,000 people watching us live the entire time. And that was Zoom, YouTube, Instagram. So you'll get to be a featured speaker on that, unless you are in a shady business. We have the right to refuse and to say, never mind, if you're selling something really, but we haven't seen that happen yet. So if you sign up in the next 24 hours, you will be a featured guest on that with all these celebrity speakers. We will also have an article written about you in Phase Magazine, our communication partner. They're the #1 media outlet in Canada for women 18 to 35 and work with the United Nations. We'll also put you onto our podcast sooner rather than later. So those are for those of you that have a message, you're trying to get more authority, you'd love to have a picture of you sharing the stage with Sharon Lecter and some of the other famous, I believe we'll have Lisa Nichols on this one. We'll have some other people like that. So those are the bonuses. Ali, are you here to share the overall membership in a few bullets?
Yes, indeed. Real quick, and I will take no more than 5 minutes. I was enjoying the information that was being shared, and I could not agree more. Don't make the mistake and make it all AI. That was a powerful statement right there. All right, y'all ready for me for the next 5 minutes? Sweet, sweet, sweet. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna dive in and just kind of like simplify decision making in here. In a nutshell, if you want to be part of a community that allows you to be part of a high vibe, purpose driven sisterhood, and us, the men who will support that sisterhood as well, definitely you are in the right place where you can network and collaborate in 7 live hours per month, where you get to connect globally inside our school community and do it in these sessions that we're doing right here, right now, which we are working to upgrade our technology. Very soon, everything is going to be 4K with a lot of features to be announced soon, right? If you need a platform where your voice is truly heard, where you are in the largest and biggest stages possible. See, we don't just record Zoom and put it on YouTube. Like, we actually use high quality software to make sure that we get the best possible vocals and video, because we place it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible.com. Amazon Music. I mean, everywhere that you need to be, as I like to call it, Googleable, because that's what matters nowadays. It's about finding you in authority platforms, and we'll give you the stage to do just that in our Diva Network podcast, where you can be heard at the largest potential authority platforms possible. I'm sure you've heard we like to travel a little bit. So while we are traveling together as a community in September to Mexico, you have access to the vacation incentives platform, where you would literally have access to 3,000 resorts globally that you yourself, with your travel buddies and your travel sisters, you can travel the world. And the only thing you pay for is an activation fee and your taxes. And just so you know, it is not a timeshare. We don't do any presentations, nor Dora, no Diva Network, nor I get any commissions from the vacations. It's literally, truly an incentive giveaway. And yes, you can use it, or you ready for it? You can give it away in exchange of business. How many more retainers, if you tell the person, hey, every 90 days your retainer is paid, I'll send you and your executive team on a vacation. That'll help you out. So definitely a mega benefit that you would receive. Diva Talks, a 10-minute signature talk opportunity housed in our school library for all of our community to see you as the greatest that you can be. Of course, the Diva Lifestyle Perks, where there's discounts on Travel Portal. Imagine having your own travel engine, whether your discounts on hotels, resorts, car rentals, and so much more. And of course, the Diva Founder Only Escape Trip, which I cannot wait to hang out with each and every one of you in Mexico. And the Wallet and Discovery, that is where you would want to end up, where you can list up to 3 offers in our Diva Wallet. It's for the free members, VIP members, and Founder audience members as well. All of this is available to you, whether you want to go for as little as $97 or you want to just get a full annual subscription for about $1,100 and change. This is available to you. And the best part, for those who desire to take it a step further and say, all right, I want all of this, because I don't know about you, I spend more than $1,100 on a single course, on a single event. So to get all of this, the gift that keeps on giving, and the knowledge and the wisdom that we receive from our contributors and collaborators, it's unbelievable. As some might call it, it's a legal robbery to us, for that matter. Now, make sure you get back to the person who loved and respected you enough and had you come in here to get educated on a lot of value already, but take advantage of everything that you can do. Imagine how much faster your success can occur if you just implement a few of the things that we teach you, and a lot of things that we're going to provide to you. So I hope that you get to make a wise decision. I'm going to send you right back to our guest speaker and make sure that you get the proper information. I always stick around in case anybody has any questions, but amazing to have you all in here.
Guys, I'm here. Thank you, Ali. He's our brother who connected us all. I met Christine through Ali and Jimmy. I do want to clarify, the bonuses that I shared come with the founding membership, not the 97 a month, just to be clear. And now, thank you for the break. We like to move it like Mad Stuntman. So we're going to move it back to Dave Wildasin. Thank you, Dave.
Okay, Adora, what's the time check here? Just so I don't go too
Yeah,
far.
well, so we have until 15 minutes after to allow them some time for networking, questions. So if you want to take another, I'm not sure what you had planned. So
Okay, perfect. I, I
yeah,
think I think what I'll do then, I'm gonna skip this slide. I'm gonna leave this slide up, but I want to get to the resource slides because I think that's gonna prompt more questions. I assume everybody has a pretty good grasp of what traditional publishing, hybrid publishing, or self-publishing is. However, if you don't, and my assumption's incorrect, just make a note on any questions you have, and then I'll come back around instead of boring those that may have already been through the publishing 101. Um, so here's something you may want to take a screenshot of. Um, Standard book proposal, and a few notes on this that where things are overlooked or missed. So an agent or a publisher is going to be looking for a couple things. One is a realistic cooperative author. So if the first line of this says, my book's going to be a New York Times bestseller because a message has never been written like this in the world, and the audience is everybody, everyone will want it, it's going straight in the trash. So these things, as concise and realistic as you can be um, with your proposals, is very important. Of course, again, using your creativity and unique perspective. It doesn't have to be this dry formula here, but these things should be included to some degree. Um, in the marketing piece, that's the biggest piece that publishers are looking for, because most publishers, the only marketing they're going to do is going to be either bookstore marketing and co-ops, some form of trade marketing to their buyers, and they should be running Amazon ads and things for their books, though not all of them invest in that. After that, they're going to look at you and they're going to say, what's the plan here? What's the marketing plan from this author? The biggest thing personal development publishers are generally looking for is, do they have a platform, and a platform where they're presenting regularly? And then the next box to check is, are they being paid for that? Do they have an audience that they're monetizing that is used to buying things from them? Uh, because just because an author has a billion followers on certain social media channels doesn't mean that those followers aren't just consuming what they're offering for free and are then not going to purchase something that author and publisher would invest in. So marketing's a big one. And then, of course, what makes your title different? But then you'll see comparative titles on there. And publishers want to see that, to see that you've done your homework in, okay, my title will work or will sell because I have a similar platform to this author in this comp title, not because I've copied this book or have the same message. So similarities in why theirs worked and why yours will work. But those are the most important things, again, if you're desiring to reach out to an agent or even direct to a publisher. And I think it's important to have all these anyways, because again, if you go through this whole process on the front end, you're going to extract your titling, your description, really what you're looking or desire to do, how much time you may be looking, or if you're looking to invest personally in the marketing side. Um, this is a Dave humble opinion item here, but what is current book marketing? Really, this is what I've seen for the past decade that works, that moves the needle, that is profitable, that sells books, and that drives people to authors' businesses. Um, the number one, without a doubt, is author events. Whether they be live and in person, author events is the number one thing. The most itinerant authors sell the most books, gain the most followers, get the most business. Uh, Training, coaching, seminars all work. It's just a lot of that can't be scaled as much as keynote speaking or major speaking events on a lot of different platforms. In some cases, it can. But again, that's where the realistic approach comes in. If you're doing training and you're training a group of 5 people for a month, highly paid CEOs, you're probably not going to move the needle on a lot of book sales there unless you're creating a book for their employees, and now you have that influence where they'll sell it down through their organization. Um, Amazon, of course, it's arguably the most powerful marketing machine on earth for books. Within Amazon, the peer reviews are very important. Video reviews are very important. Amazon advertising has gotten more and more competitive, but it's extremely important and very easy to test. Um, Within Amazon, if you do have a published book, a lot of you probably do and know this, have that, update your author page in Amazon, keep it updated and relevant. It used to be you could actually put event calendar in there. Amazon's removed that, but added some new features. So know your author central account. You own it as an author, even if you publish with another publisher. You own that account. You could do a lot of things in there. Um, and then some of the Amazon owned companies like Goodreads are a great place to reach out to an audience. BookBub's a big one now. Um, so again, author following, direct list community. It's built through all those things above and everything else you're doing every day. Offers and giveaways, again, qualified lead generation, and I stress qualified there because you don't just want to be mailing out books or giving books if it's not qualified lead gen, but it is a good way to build community and list build. Um, Affiliate list campaigns, again, this is an opinion piece and what I've seen, not necessarily always the case. There's niche cases where it works for less than this, but what I've seen is affiliate programs as far as book launch and book campaigns have to be extremely well organized. Um, the timing is very important, and I've seen it done with a couple million followers and didn't, with pretty high influential people, didn't move the needle. And so in my opinion, we're now at a place where if you're going to look to put together a book launch or an affiliate type program with your product of any type, I think we're easy in the tens of millions of lists that you need to reach, which is not hard to do. This person might have 100,000, this one 50, but the organizational piece is what's really needed there, so they all understand what to do, when to do it, and what they're getting from that. Um, and then, of course, direct bulk customers, that might be your corporate clients, any type of coaching client. They might buy a case, 10 books or 10,000. The more books you can get out there, the better, because The more books that are seeded in the market, if it's a solid product, people are going to read it, they're going to talk about it, and word of mouth marketing is up there with Amazon. And then I added the new one, Book Talk, which is linked into TikTok, which is now seemingly the most influential social media platform for authors. It's influencing at the bookstore levels. Getting authors and getting self-published authors into bookstores that wouldn't normally get into a physical bookstore. So it's something to take a look at. Um, there are arguments it's for younger people, that it's only for nonfiction, or sorry, for fiction, but I don't buy that because I've seen success stories across the board. That's the primary audience, but that means there's opportunity in those
I
other
want to hop
areas.
in here because I'm not sure if everyone heard that. And that alone just took me to another level. I had no idea. So you're saying on TikTok, so this is whether someone is already self-published, which we have a lot of people that
Right.
said they're already authors here. You're saying they can go on to Book Talk, which is like TikTok. It's inside of TikTok.
Correct.
And
Self
right
community.
now, it's very powerful for authors and it's influencing at the book level store. That's outrageous. I want to make sure everybody got that because that's huge. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it has been the single biggest item that's been brought up with bookstore buyers over the last year. What are they doing here? Are they tagging everything Book Talk? Are they in work in the community? Are they working with reviewers in Book Talk? So it's gotten to the point where a lot of buyers see really big like LinkedIn numbers and they go, that's not moving the needle on books. Book Talk is. Get them over there. Well, they're saying they're too old for that. No, that's not the case. That's opportunity. Excuse me. So I wanted to leave this one up for some screenshots. I highlighted the second one, and the reason I put these up here is for just about any resource you would want from start to finish publishing, these groups will get you there, especially the first three. Okay. I highlight IBP, Independent Book Publishing Association, because they are great for an author, whether they've just published a book or they're halfway through or they're starting. They're a great organization, very low cost if you choose to join them. Tons of free resources. They do live events. They do a pub university, and they really have a varied level of membership where it doesn't matter if you're just starting or you're a publisher like myself. I've always enjoyed the educational sessions and seminars that they offer. So this is where you find these first two is where you'll find those individuals to have them lined up through the publishing process. And it goes far beyond that to post launch. You'll find marketing groups and people, and you can kind of choose a la carte and say, okay, that's not my specialty. I'm going to go to IBPA, look through their directory, and then talk to some people to see who they would recommend or who has a proven track record within that organization. Some of these are a bit more niche. So, of course, if you're getting into children's books, I would look at ALA, American Library Association, scholarly publishing. If you're doing research or collegiate type productions, these two will work. And then some other resources. You all know Amazon. I'm sure you all know KDP. It's a very powerful tool. It is a great place to start if you're looking at self-publishing. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with self-publishing books. If you're when you start your vision, your goal, and the reason that you're publishing this book, if that is to maintain control of every piece of this, whether it be marketing, whatnot, whether it's lead generation, for profit, whatever, it's a great place to start. Because if you blow it up on an Amazon platform or any of these platforms, really, publishers are going to notice you. If they do, you're in the driver's seat. It is very, very difficult to get an agent or a publisher, a reputable one, to recognize a first time author. However, you blow up Amazon and someone lands there and they see hundreds or thousands of reviews, they see sales. They're now going to be knocking on your door, and that gives you a lot more control contractually. It gives you a lot more control, as far as what a publisher would invest in you and the marketing down the road. So those are some various options there, and a lot of these can work together. Like you can set up a Spark account and do your own KDP and advertising. You can just set up ebooks or audiobooks on some of these platforms. So it's not always just choosing one. Amazon likes when you choose them, and they give you a higher royalty rate when you just go through that platform. But in some cases, you might find that your audience lives more at Apple Books or Kobo. And there's some authors that say, I'm not dealing with Amazon at all. I'm going here. That's generally not for profit reasons. That's for other reasons because they just don't love Amazon. Um, and now I'm happy to answer questions. And if we don't have enough, I have plenty of questions that I can seed from top ask questions. Adora, can you open up the floor? Or maybe an admin there. Can an admin open up the floor?
Yes, I'm driving. JKN, if you have a question, if you could go ahead and do it with the emoji hand, and then JKN will lead calling because I'm driving. I can't look at the screen right now. JKN, if you could help facilitate answering. I see Melanie. I screened over. Melanie, go ahead and unmute.
Thank you so much. And thanks, David. That was absolutely fabulous. Quick question. If you can just describe, what do you mean by hybrid publishing? I want to make sure that I understand what that is. And then also, you had spoken about using AI. I'm not sure if Ali is still here, but Ali was saying that when we use AI, it can be like checked, and then you know that that AI is in the picture, and it can cause complications. So if you can just elaborate a little bit on that, I would appreciate it.
And then Alexandra, if JKN doesn't step in, if Alexandra is still there, if she can help take the questions.
I got it.
Okay, thank you, love. Okay.
I'm here as well if you need me.
Okay, great.
Excellent. Yeah, so both great questions. I'll start with the hybrid publishing question. So traditional publishing, of course, is long road, usually takes a while to get there to them. If you can, they're going to be out 1 year to 17 months, usually sometimes 2 years for your publishing date. You're getting a lot less of royalty because they're covering the bills for everything up front. Self-publishing, you're covering everything. It's very low cost to enter, but you are running a mini publishing business at that point in time. You can sub and hire off. Hybrid kind of falls in the middle. So there's a group that I really have liked for years called Greenleaf Books, and they started a hybrid publishing company before it was really being done. So it's not a novelty publishing company, right? They still have a very rigid selection process, but they hired some of the best editors, best designers. They just had a extremely polished staff. Now I don't know an author that's worked with them in the last year or two, but I know they're still in business, and I think they're still doing the same level of quality. But a lot of high profile speaker authors went to them, and they went to them because for a speaker author that is, say, doing 150 venues a year, and they're being paid $10,000 to $50,000 to step on the stage for an hour, they want the best buyback price on a book they can get. And that's all they really care about. They have the funds to cover all the costs for production, but they want a high quality bookstore book. They want the option for bookstore placement and traditional trade distribution, but they want to be able to buy that book back at the best possible cost, and they don't want to have to handle anything. They get a phone call. I got a booking tomorrow in Detroit. I want to make a call, and I want my books to be in 2,000 books to be in Detroit tomorrow. So hybrid publishing is, if you're looking at funding all of it, you retain full rights, whereas traditional publishing, you're assigning distribution rights to one publisher, typically for the life of the term of, or the life of it, the copyright, which is forever, which means, yes, the copyright's filed in your name, but they have the control over pretty much everything at that point because they're bankrolling it. Hybrid publishing, you pay for everything up front. Okay, so you go in and they give you, okay, this book needs this level editing. It's going to cost you this. Our designers do this. You pay for the printing of the book, and you own the inventory that sits in their warehouse. They do market, and a few of them have good distribution. Greenleaf used to have phenomenal distribution. Again, can't speak to it today because it's been a few years since I've had an author go through their program. But hybrid is kind of that middle road. Now, there is a caution there. It's pricey, but it's a great place to find out if your book meets the cut, because they don't charge you anything typically to review that book and say, yeah, we'd be interested in talking or not. If they aren't interested in talking, then you move on to the next possible option. Um, and it gives you a really good understanding of what publishers will invest in a book, because what they're charging you doesn't have profit in there. They get a percentage then on the back end, but it's a much smaller percentage of distribution. So I've had a lot of authors that come to me and say, hey, we want this, this, and this. And I'd say, okay, well, I'd recommend talking to them. And as soon as they get the cut list of what it cost for what they wanted done, they go, "Oh yeah, we don't want to do that. We want to work with this group instead," because it can be 100K north of that, easy to put together a solid business book. So that's a bit of hybrid. The other word of caution on hybrid publishing is there are a lot of cut rate programs out there offering a $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 hybrid publishing piece, and I would be very cautious if you look into those to talk to authors, to read the books they produce, see what level of quality, because you're probably not getting much more than what you could do on your own self-publishing that. And it's true of anything in life, right? You pay for what you get. If you want a platinum service, you're usually going to pay for that. But I'm sure there's some good ones that are lower cost. I know there used to be a couple that were in like the 20,000s, and they were pretty darn good as far as the quality produced. They just didn't necessarily have the back end distribution. So do your homework, talk to anybody you can, look at their authors and call them or reach out to get some true recommendations. Then the AI question. Again, not an attorney, won't answer any legal questions on AI because I don't know. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. As of right now, I just think it's very wise to tag anything very clearly if you're using AI assistants. Um, and also be very careful if you are using an AI program that it's a closed loop program, that it's not going and pulling from everywhere on earth as far as your book content itself. I like it for word changes, for structural ideas, for outlines. Um, I have no shortage of creative ideas, and then it's like, okay, how do I get this all into one bundle? So that's what I like it for. Not necessarily doing the research for me. Now, there's plenty of cited AI areas for research, but I think if it's research deep, I would invest in doing it yourself or paying for it, so that you're definitely off the AI line, because I think that's where people are going to get in trouble, because they're going to be pulling research from someone else, and all it takes is hitting Harvard Business Review or somewhere else, and then you're going to get in trouble.
I love, David, this is so rich that it makes me wish I had booked you for Thursday as well. But JKN, can we open a breakout room for people that are now here for the networking and may not be interested? They're not going to write a book anytime soon, so that they can network. And so in that breakout room, when she opens it, you'll just click join, and just open a few rooms, JK, and everybody else can stay in this room that has questions and is learning and wants to spend time with David.
No problem.
Okay, Sheila, if you'll drop the
Emily, I like the books I'm seeing on your screen. Oh, sorry, Dora. I like the
No,
books
it's
I'm
okay.
seeing on your screen there.
Yeah. And JKN, if you, or Sheila, if you'll drop the questions in the chat when you go into the breakout rooms. This is the way we network. I learned it from Russell Brunson originally, this format. It's basically, who you are, what you represent, your business or your passion, what your ask is, but also what's moved the needle the most in your own life as a give. And I said that out of order, but Sheila's got them in there. Okay, back to questions and Dave.
I'm just going to jump in because I think I'm the one with my hand up.
Perfect.
Hey, David, really great stuff. I have learned so much about publishing books, and I'm an audio book narrator. I'm a voiceover talent.
Okay.
And I find it really interesting this is such an interesting world right now. I also coach and train voiceover talent, but one of the things that I have found is interesting for people like you and people who are helping people write books is how do you talk to people about audiobooks and the importance of them and how they should get them done? Obviously, I have my own thoughts and opinions on it.
Boy, yeah, long can of worms there. I'll have to try and summarize because I love them. Please continue.
Good. No, I was just kind of curious on where you line up. And I also shared a book that I actually narrated called 101 Surprising Ways to Promote Your Book by Mila Johansson, narrated by me. It's such a great little handbook on how to promote your book. She has a lot of the things you've already mentioned, and lots of just little tips and tricks and free things to do and how you should even promote your book before you even finish the book and things.
Thank you. Thank you, Justine. Okay, for time's sake, you guys, it's wonderful to say, David, thank you. But then if you could go right to your questions so that more people can ask their questions and David can
Yeah,
go.
well,
as
I already
long
asked
as
my question. So whatever
Amazing.
Yeah,
Going
whatever.
straight
Thank you,
to it.
Justine.
Going straight to it. I love audiobooks. I jumped into the audiobook production in the traditional way, learned a lot of lessons from that through traditional narrators like yourself. Um, and then, of course, ACX came along, all the other production companies came along, and so we tested everything. Audiobooks are very important, and there's a right way to do it, in my opinion, for every author. I would recommend attempting to retain as much rights as you can for your audiobooks, and then you make the decision: do I want to spend the money on a traditional narrator, or do I want to go with a royalty split share like they do with a semi-traditional narrator? My one thing, and you will probably love this, Justine, is just about every speaker author thinks they can narrate their own book, and they can't, and they need professional help. And so it's very important they get it done.
Thank you for promoting that. That's the
Yeah,
most important thing. Thank you. I
very
appreciate
important.
that.
It's very important. Again, we got some changes coming, and we've been testing this for a year and a half, and that's AI. And with a really good production person that knows the back end production, you can take someone's voice if they have to have it in their voice, and you can make a pretty good audio production. But I hope that answered your question.
Well, all I would say to that is please don't promote that because they still, AI can't breathe, they can't emote. So anyway, my advice to anyone doing that is don't use AI voices at this point.
Well, if you don't have a production person to do it that understands it and understands how to do it, it's not gonna pass.
You'd waste more money doing that than hiring a narrator.
That's
so
right.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, David.
Laura, did you still have a question or was it answered?
I just was wondering, oh, did I go away? I hope
No, you're
not.
good. You're good.
Okay, I was wondering why in the example that was mentioned, if somebody was that successful with self-publishing, why would they want to switch to regular publishing? What would be the advantage?
They may not. They may not. Typically in the past, what people wanted from traditional publishers, a few things. One is the bankroll, and two is to get them into bookstores. It's still near impossible for a self-pub author to get into bookstores. However, as I'd mentioned, platforms like TikTok are changing that because the customer's noticing it and it's creating a pull-through effect. But typically, traditional publishing, people would desired it for status, maybe ego, but also because a traditional publisher has pretty deep pockets and may come in and go, okay, this is the next John Grisham. I'm going to invest $1 million into this type of campaign. We're going to do a multiple book deal. We're going to sign an advance. So it's not always right. I've had so many people come up to me at conferences over the years and go, why should we publish with a traditional publisher? Why should we publish with you? Or why should, and in most cases, the answer is they shouldn't. 95% of the cases, they shouldn't, for multiple reasons. One is they either aren't ready, or they haven't defined their goal, or their goals don't fit with a traditional publisher. So that's the cool thing of having all these different options out there to be able to test. But that's the primary reason someone would test one and then jump to the next one.
Speaking
Thank
of
you.
options, I don't like listening to a narrator or AI. Even if the author doesn't read their book well, I often will not even listen to a book that isn't in the author's voice. I can't. I That's my own thing. So I love that there are lots of options, lots of roads, and lots of opinions.
It's like a book cover, Adora.
Real data. The thing
There's
though is,
everybody here would have a different opinion on a book cover as well.
yeah, but the thing is, David, you have the real data, which is why you're the expert. So we'll divert back to you.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. I appreciate that.
Bethian, what's your question?
Yeah, I came in late and that, but I would love to have a call with you because I've just been offered a chapter in the book, but I am in UK and I have some reservations on the agreement of, like after I've done it and it's published and that because of the monetization and everything else that's going on.
Well, ask
So-
your question now. I'm going to protect David, his time. He doesn't do calls with people, so we won't be
Well,
doing
Yeah.
calls.
Well,
I
then
will
my question is they've
I'll-
sent me the agreement and the cost, which is fine and that, but also I'm just feeling a little bit anxious. Is like for my rights and that, how I would monetize it afterwards because they're in America.
Okay. Question one, did you reach out to them or did they reach out to you?
They reached out to me.
I'd cut, unless it's somebody in your network right here that's going to get angry with me and come after me, I'd be out immediately. Anybody comes to any content creator or me and says, "Hey, I got a deal for you," just sign the dotted line and cut me a check. I'm going. That's your first red flag. Now, if you had looked them up online and go, "Okay, there's a
Yeah,
collective,"
it is in another community that I'm in.
okay, yeah, but then don't tell them I didn't say nothing. That advice didn't come from me. Then you have to decide how much you trust the other people that brought this to you. Just like anything, just like any program. Much like every other industry, the unfortunate reality in publishing is there's so many schemes and scams and things. And that's why I immediately aggressively said, if they came to you, get out, because 90+% of the time, if someone comes knocking on your door, says, sign here, do this with me, it's not in your best interest, it's in theirs. And
Yeah,
so
okay.
just, I would be cautious. Now, if you go, hey, by getting this book, it gives me this, and that's cost I would have spent on marketing anyways, or promotions anyways for my own business, then go for it. But if it's just doing a book just to have your name as part of a book or a group book, again, I'm going to seriously piss some people off by saying this. Sorry to anybody who's done this, because everybody does it, but I greatly dislike collective books that just jumble a whole bunch of people's message in where one person makes all the money from that and all the authors pay for it. Unless you have a plan behind it personally to say, I'm already speaking and I can sell these, or I really trust this person and I really desire to be identified, with them as part of their inner circle, and I got a plan to monetize that.
Any other questions?
All right.
Johnny.
Hey, David. The one thing I'll say is, and I like where you started, I'm gonna go into a little bit of the heel, start with the end in mind. If you're gonna do something, start with the end in mind. So when you know your purpose for doing something like that, if it's to get the Amazon bestseller list, and I'm putting quotes around that, not because I'm disrespectful, it's just, what is the purpose? And then when I did one, I've done two now, David. I've done two early on.
I know, and we've talked about it, and that's why I knew it wouldn't offend you.
Early on, I did too. However, the question that I would say is David, what would be a good way if a person was going to do that? What are a couple benefits that maybe someone could think of that they would do something like that as their first time author or whatever? Help me with that.
So You know, and I know I don't want to mention a name, but I know a lot of people have done it with a pretty high profile speaker here in the US, like within that network. And I don't know that that's a bad thing because you can use that author's name then, or that speaker's name as part of your metadata on your website. My argument, excuse me, is if it's your writing, it's your chapter, just own it and write the whole book. Right? Like that's my argument behind that. Um, but if you know, a top level writer author comes to you and says, "Hey, I want you to be in the book," or even a group of authors, and there's not a price tag attached to it, that's a different story. And I knew a guy who kind of started on this years and years ago in the NSA. They did it because they were all National Speakers Association. They did it because they were all coming up together. So there was 10 or 12 of them, and they put together this collective book. And when they did it, they would use like 5 or 6 of the guys that were known, and then they would add in like 1 or 2 of the up and comers that they saw value in, like he's going to be the next great one. And they put together a collective. So it was a collaborative effort. It wasn't just a pay to have your name produced. Um, a benefit would be, Johnny, if you just don't want to write it, if you want to just tell them your story and have them write it, edit it, paginate it, print it, and then you have a plan to use that. That would be the biggest benefit. That then again, that ends up becoming almost like a hybrid publishing deal. You're not the only author for the book.
Thank you. And since then, I've done 6 other books by myself, but that was the beginning, right? That was the beginning.
I was waiting for the pushback.
Thank you.
It is a controversial subject because just about every group has a program like that. And I'm not saying that some of them aren't fantastic. I'm just saying if anybody, like, because I've dealt with so many authors over the year where I get the phone call, hey, so and so came to me and there's this new thing out here, it's only going to cost you $28,000. Well, how do we measure the return on that? That wasn't part of the plan. And it's, shiny object syndrome will come at you. Buy this book award. There's legitimate book awards that are really fantastic out there. And there's a lot more you can buy. You can buy reviews, you can buy, and so many things out there. If someone comes to you with an offer and you didn't go to them with anything in life, if someone doesn't show up in your driveway and say, hey, here's a new car, I think you should buy it. Here's what we're going to do for you. Here's the paperwork and the price tag. But there's a lot of what I would call agency work out there where, hey, we'll take you to the top, we'll take you to #1 selling, and they look for authors on Amazon. They reach out to the pain point. Hey, we notice you don't have a lot of reviews. You're not #1. And they reach out with this program, and the payment plan, when you get to it, is more detailed than the program or anything they're going to do for you. Same thing happens in PR. Same thing happens. It's across the board. So back to the starting point, and then I'll shut up and let you all go. But when you define the reason you're doing this for you and your business, and you've connected the all to feed the all, that's what keeps you on track, because that's what keeps you from going, well, maybe I'll do this. But why? The biggest question you can always ask yourself is why? Why would I do that or pay for it? Do I have a plan to utilize it? If you do it. If you don't, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing for today. Maybe it comes later, but that's not today's work.
Any other questions?
Well, David, I think we're right at the top of the time that we committed to you. So I want you to show your love in the chat if you got some ahas, some breakthroughs here. And I want to thank you for being someone who shows up and serves, because David doesn't have a high ticket program you can log into and be a part of. This was truly just, I'll talk to your people, and thank you so much for that, David. And thank you for saying yes to getting to work for Dennis Waitley. Even there, you were super classy. It took us a long time to even say yes to Dennis, because he wanted to make sure he could actually serve Dennis, and he wanted to know, what did Dennis want and how does it fit? And wow, that created something wildly impactful, and the rest of the world will know in time how meaningful and timely. So thank you so much for just who you are in the world. And I'll reach out to you about the Innovators broadcast that we have in case you feel like playing again. And otherwise, I'll see you in July in Virginia.
All right. We'll eat some good food.
We'll eat some good food. Yep, that's what I owe you, some good food. All right, he's a foodie.
All right.
All right.
Thank you
Bye,
all. Thank you all. Be well.
Be well. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not going to close the room because we have a few people in the breakout room that have a timer still running down, so you guys can just fall away. We will see you, if you remember, we'll see you for our members only meeting on Thursday with a whole hour of networking. And then don't forget we have Diva Local stuff today, actually. Yes, here's Alexandra. Do you want to tell them about what you're doing this week for Diva
Yes,
Local?
she does. And I want to say hi to the other Melanie. I think their names are almost identical.
Oh, yes.
Melanie
Courtney.
Holloway. Don't we have two Melanie?
Yes.
No, she sent me her link. Hi ladies. It's my first time being on this call and she was like, I don't know where my link was. So she's like, here. So nice to meet you. I'm Courtney Cody.
Oh,
I live
that's
in
her name.
Lexington.
Okay, so you got her
Okay,
link.
good. I was
Okay.
so confused. I'm like, they have the exact same name. Okay, go ahead. Back to Alexandra.
Yes,
Welcome.
thank you. We're excited for our 2 p.m. Eastern call, which is like about 30 minutes from now. And we're going to be going over membership. So if you are interested in being a Diva Locals member in your community, you can hop on and learn what your membership is all about. So we'll see you at 2 p.m. Eastern. Can we drop the link here? Thank you. Just go ahead and click on the link, register, and I'll be doing a presentation on what Diva Locals is. We talked about having those in-person meetings. That's what it's all about. So if you don't have one in your area, get on the call. We're gonna definitely be opening up Diva Locals globally. So it will be in your area soon. If not already, we're gonna have a lot of presidents there as well. That's all I got.
Fantastic. Okay, I put the link for that call that's in 40 minutes in the chat. You can hop back in and join us then. And like I said, if you're not in one of the networking groups, you do not have to wait. I'm going to let them finish up before I close the room. So thanks for being here and we'll see you all later. Welcome back. So we always end after networking with giving you guys a chance to tell us what you've learned about somebody else in the room or something that you took away. So I didn't want to rob you of that, even though everybody else has already bounced. So does anybody have something that they want to share real quick before we say goodbye? Did you
Can
learn
I
any?
ask a question since I came in late? Are these ladies Diva Network members? Are you guys members or you were visiting today?
I think
I was a visitor today. Christine Coran invited me last
I
week from Aspire. We met there.
Nice. I'm gonna reach out to you because I came in when you were speaking. I thought I walked into my own room. Okay, great.
Aw, lovely. Well, Lorna, if you want to let me know how to connect with you, keep me posted.
Yeah, will do, definitely. And the other two
Alright.
ladies, they were Chantel and Tamika. You guys are members?
No, I'm a guest. I was invited by Karen Joseph.
Okay, great, great, great. And
Yes,
Tamika,
and it's my first time here in the Diva Network meeting, but I am the Pembroke Pines. Yes.
Okay, okay.
Chapter
I know we're having a great
Congratulations.
conversation, so I'm gonna let you guys tell her how you. I just wanted to introduce myself and meet you guys because you asked me as we were coming out. But you can go ahead and tell JK and.
Tell JKN.
Well,
What?
what she cut herself off is if you
I
have
did.
something that you learned about somebody or a takeaway from your networking session. Usually what happens is we do a group networking and then we all come back into the room. But because we stayed in that main room, when we finished up with Q&A over there, we just have you guys left. So
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I learned that Chantel is currently working, but she is working on her side gig as well as an artist, as a voiceover artist. So she's searching for someone that needs her services, and she also is searching for the person that can help her to be better at what she does as well. So yeah, so that's what Chantel was saying. And I learned about Tanya as well. I'll say one. I guess you just said say one. And I learned both of them. Tanya is Tanya Sarah.
love it. So good. Okay. Any other shares?
So I came in a little later before after the event started, but it was interesting how I was about to leave, and I'm glad you mentioned that because before I went to the breakout room, I actually heard Justine talk about the narration for audiobooks. I'm like, oh, before I leave the breakout, let me hear about this, and she did thankfully send me her email so I can follow up with her.
Good.
But yeah, I was definitely surprised when she brought up the narration and was hearing insights on her question when she was asking the speaker on like how that would help with books. Since I mean, I am seeing with Audible stuff that is a big thing where I mean, I know from personal experience where I want to learn something but can't always read it, and I was like, oh yeah, Audible.
Good. Love it. Yeah, she'll be a great connection for you. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, especially you guys that are guests. We are here every Tuesday. And then if you would love to jump in deeper, we have our members only training on Thursdays where we do a whole hour of networking after. So hopefully you will consider joining the Diva Network in some capacity. Other than that, we will see you guys later. Thank you so much for being here and have a fantastic rest of your day.
And
Thank you.
can I say one last thing? Make sure y'all get on school as well, because that's the free community. Okay.
And how do we do that?
Get back with the person who invited
Person.
you today
Okay.
so that they can give you their free link so that you get access to our all of our free stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies.
No problem.
You're welcome. Bye. Have a great week.
Enjoy your day.